the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real itself. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up with the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real itself. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money, money, money. That's all you got to wrong with being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's wrong. You know why money so much? Why you get up and go to work? Everybody's doing it about money. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. That's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Ace Cortez.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is your main man, Ace Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my very best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. As always, I count it as both an honor and a privilege to be able to present to you each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, on the topic of money, success, wealth, entrepreneurship, how to grow intergenerationally, passing money down from one generation to the next. So it is Free Game Friday, where live Q&A, where you guys can post your questions. Good morning, Telly. Appreciate you joining each and every morning, brother. If you got questions, post your questions in the comment. Also, share the stream with your timeline so that we can get people involved in a conversation about money. One of the reasons that we struggle financially is because we're scared to even have the conversation. All right, most people are struggling, and instead of learning how to overcome struggles, what we do is we tend to get real good at how to cover up our struggles instead of how to overcome them. So we're talking about live Q&A. I got some questions that came in earlier this week that we'll jump into. And then if you're watching us on YouTube, then I want you to go over to the Financial Health Mentor Twitter feed and tweet your questions. All you do is put a question mark, the name of your business, and then ask your question, because I will shout out the name of your business and your Twitter handle if you were to do that. Same thing with you guys on Facebook Live. If you have a business that you're promoting, then do question mark, the name of your business, and then answer your question, because I want to shout out your business as well as we get to our live Q&A for the day. As always, I like to let you know exactly who this show is for. This show is for the risers and grinders this morning. If you woke up this morning with legacy on your brain, this show is for you. If you went to bed last night and you were reading your affirmations as you were going to bed because you're programming yourself for success, not just in the area of finances, but in whatever you're doing, this show is for you. If you understand the power of creating generational wealth that can be passed down from your children to your children's children to your children's children's children, this show is for you. If you are the type of person who know deep down inside you have the desire to be wealthy, you have the discipline to be wealthy, but you need a mentor, you need some help, you need a game plan, you need some strategies, this show is for you. Now, who is this show not for? This show isn't for the person who believes money is evil. All right. If you can't stand capitalism, this show isn't for you, because we use capitalism as a tool, the tool that it is, to build wealth to pass down from one generation to the next. If you're sitting back waiting on Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump to fix the economy, this show ain't for you, because you should be focusing on your economy. Do you understand that wealthy people can care less who's in office, because they understand how capitalism really works? And capitalism says it doesn't matter who's in office, because you're always going to be able to manipulate and move and have success under any regime, as long as we are in a capitalistic society. So if that is you, you don't like the fact that I said money 30 times in the last 30 seconds, this show is not for you, because one thing I can promise you is that I'm probably going to save money another 30 times in the next 30 seconds. So guys, as always, I also want to give a shout out to my sponsors early this morning. Today's show is sponsored, just like it has been all week, by the Small Business Expo going down at Qtopia here in St. Louis, Missouri. I will be there along with about 15, 16 other local entrepreneurs in the St. Louis area, bringing to you what it is that we do so that we can create a relationship, so that you can see what we offer to the marketplace. And also, it's a networking event for us as business owners and entrepreneurs to network with each other, to support one another. Because if you didn't check out my show earlier in this week, we did a show on Stacy Brooks. Good morning. We did a show on collaboration versus competition. And I'm of the vein that we can collaborate one with another versus competing, and we can go a lot further. So if you're in town, I want you to go over to Qtopia tomorrow, 1 to 4 p.m. Address over at Qtopia is 11824 West Florissant Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63033. And if you got questions about the actual event, I want you to reach out to Bria Harris, owner of Verified Berries. They do custom berries for your events, weddings, birthdays, all that kind of stuff, even alcohol-infused berries, which is something that I find that was pretty cute, cool, even though I don't partake in the alcoholic beverage. But go over to Bria Harris on Facebook, and you can inbox her more and ask her questions about the actual event. She is one of the organizers. So today, we're going to get on to today's show. If you got questions, just put question mark, the name of your business, and then ask your question, because I also want to shout out your business. I don't want to just ask your question. I want to promote these shows. Normally get anywhere from 300 to 500 views. So why not get you some pub for participating? That's my way of saying thanks for engaging with us this morning. Now, as I'm waiting on the questions to roll in, I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic that we had earlier this week. And you guys have to forgive me. I can't remember the young lady name that I had on from Mutual of Omaha. But at the end of the show, I talked about a wealth building strategy that not many people use or are aware of. But we talked about on that show how to transfer wealth from one generation to the next. And one of the primary ways to do that is through insurance. We also had Corey Beal on from World Financial Group, and he talked about the same thing. He gave a story about how when his in-laws passed, they left them with a burden of paying for the funeral. Then he also talked about one of his co-workers' mom passed, and she was a homemaker, but she was able to pass him down $750,000. Guys, we have to understand where insurance fits into our wealth building portfolio. So I read a story or heard of the way that some other cultures are using insurance to build that family enterprise and build that family business. And what they do is they take the oldest but the healthiest member in the family, and then they take that person and put a huge insurance policy on the life of that person, and then everybody in the family contributes to the premium of that policy. And when that person passes on, they get an infusion of wealth into their household. We're talking about a $5 million policy. It might cost them $400-500 a month, but as a family, everybody chips in to cover the cost of that actual policy. And as a result, when that person transitions from this life to the next, then they have a $5 million pot to split amongst all the family members who are participating and covering that premium. Now, what do you think they're doing along the way as that person is still living their life, but they know their person is coming to the end? They may have to pay for this policy for another 10 years, another 15 years. What do you think they're doing that whole time? They are preparing, laying the foundations for businesses and things of that nature. So when they get that infusion of cash, it's just going to catapult them because they've been preparing for it this whole time. So I want you guys to understand that insurance is a strong way that we can transfer wealth from one generation to the next, even if you don't have a whole lot of wealth. Because again, when we talked to Corey Beal on Wednesday from World Financial Group, he talked about his coworker's friend being a homemaker. She did not have a whole lot of wealth. What she did do was she was able to find $35, $40 a month to cover the cost of an insurance premium. And she did that until she died. And when she passed, she was able to pass on $750,000 worth of wealth, which she did not have, by the way. But through the vehicle of insurance, she was able to set him up, and he was able later to parlay that $750,000 into some business enterprises, investments, and continue to build up on that wealth. So now he's probably going to pass down 3 or 4 times that to his children. So we're talking about understanding the role that insurance plays in your wealth building portfolio. Guys, if you're checking us out on Facebook, leave your questions. This is Q&A, Free Game Friday, right? Now, let's be clear. I give free game every day. But I just thought Free Game Friday had a little bit of a ring to it. So if you got your questions, put your questions in the chat on Facebook. Let me go over to the Financial Health Mentor Twitter feed. If you got questions and you're watching this on YouTube, then do me a favor and go over to the Twitter feed. Tweet me at Cortez Springer your question, and then I can go ahead and answer your question live on the air. But also, when you're asking your question, put your business name in the in front of the question if you have one, because I want to shout out your business as well. That way, that's my way of saying thank you for engaging with the show. I can shout out your business and get you some publicity, as well as these shows are all recorded and they're replayed. They're on loops. I do a lot to promote these shows after the fact, so that can help you with your brand. All right, so I'm just going to bring up Twitter just in case we got some folks on the Twitter feed asking any questions. All right, so just a recap of some of the shows that we did this week. We did the show on the tax code, using the tax code to build wealth. So if you got questions on taking advantage of the tax code, you can certainly ask that question. We had Corey Beal on from from World Financial Group, and he talked about the power of the insurance vehicle to transfer wealth. We also had the other young lady, man, I hate that I don't have my notes in her name, but she was from Mutual of Omaha. That show aired on Tuesday, so if you want to get back in contact with her, you can certainly go there. And she also talked about using insurance as a way to transfer wealth from one generation to the next. And then on Monday, I can't recall what we did on Monday, but at any rate, this show is all about wealth, finance, strategy, business, entrepreneurship, branding and marketing to grow a business. I've been a branding and marketing coach for the last 5 years or so. So if you have a business and you got want some tips on how to brand and how to expose yourself, increase and grow your brand, you can ask questions on that this morning. Anything that you can use help with to better position yourself, that's what we're talking about this morning. I'm taking your questions live. So basically, this is a way to get a free short consultation right here live on the air. So I don't see any questions coming through Facebook just yet, but certainly feel free to ask your questions. Even if you don't have a business, just ask your question and we'll get it on the air. One thing that I wanted to mention about yesterday that I didn't get a chance to, go over the top 5 home business tax deductions that you should be taking advantage of. And I'll talk about my favorite one a little bit here. But number 1 is business use of your home. So if you have a home office in your home, then a percentage of your rent or mortgage becomes tax deductible, as well as a percentage of the utilities that you spend on your home. If you put a new roof on your home, put a new windows in your home, then a percentage of those costs also become tax deductible. Business travel is another one of the top 5 home business tax deductions. So stop taking family vacations and start taking more business trips, because vacations aren't tax deductible where business trips are. Meals and entertainment. My wife and I have budget meetings weekly on what we need to be doing with our business budget, and as well as business strategy meetings every couple weeks. So now the meals that we have become tax deductible because we're taking care of business over those meals. All right, so you got home business, home office, business travel, tax, meals and entertainment. You also have, I don't want to get to the last one yet, business use of your vehicle. So if you're driving your vehicle and you're going on trips where you're going to be taking care of business, it can be something as simple as going to pass out some business cards at a networking event. The mileage that you're driving for your for that event are tax deductible. So these are things that could save you and reduce your taxable income even from your job, because what the tax code says is that when you have business losses, you can apply them against your W-2 income. So if you make $50,000 a year, have $15,000 in tax deductions, then that $15,000 comes off your job income if you don't have any business income to take that loss against. So instead of being taxed on $50,000, you're taxed on $35,000, and that's a savings of about $8,000 in tax liability. Then my favorite tax deduction of them all, guys, is wages. If you have children between ages of 6 and 18, you should have a home-based business for this tax reason alone. You can pay those children to work in your business. The wages you pay those children are tax deductible, and they're tax-free for the child up to $6,300. So what does that mean? That means you can pay your children $6,300 per year, right? They don't pay taxes on that money, and then that's a tax deduction for your business. What do they do with the $6,300 that you pay them? They take care of the things that you would normally buy for them. So you're shifting your income from your job through your home-based business and then ultimately into your child's bank account. Now your child takes that money and they go pay their private school tuition. They take their money and go shopping for their school clothes and their school supplies. They take that money and they go pay for their club dues for their youth sports athletics or their chess club memberships, or whatever you would normally have to buy for your child. You can shift that income literally through your home-based business. It becomes tax deductible, and you pay your child a wage for helping you in your home-based business. Now they can take that money. They can even take that money and buy groceries for the house if you want. You just have to understand that there's power in understanding the tax code and how to make that thing work. So those are the top 5 home business tax deductions. I didn't get a chance to get those out yesterday when we did that show. So if you got questions, this is live Q&A, guys. I don't want to babble on about random topics. I want to serve you on these Fridays. So if you got questions, type in the chat, question mark, the name of your business and your question, and we'll answer it live on the air. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, I'm sorry, and you got a question, then tweet me at Cortez Springer, at CortezSpringer. Tweet me at Cortez Springer. And then I will ask your question and answer your question live on the air. Same thing for you guys. Go ahead and do question mark, the name of your business, and ask your question as my way of saying thanks for engaging with the show. I want to shout out your business as well as ask that question and get that question answered for you guys. On one of the shows earlier this week, we talked about what it takes to build a wealth and things of that nature. And I want to touch on this really quick since I don't have any questions coming in just yet. I want to talk about your belief level, guys. A lot of times we don't do what we need to do to build wealth, to change our financial situation. It's because we don't believe that we can do it, and that we should do it. Guys, I don't know what your faith is as far as religion, but I believe as a child of the Most High God that I am destined to live in abundance, in a land of prosperity, in a land of abundant peace. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So I don't think there's anything wrong with me going after business, anything wrong with me wanting success in my life, anything wrong with me having an abundance of wealth, because wealth is just a resource. And guys, when we're talking about wealth, we're talking about not just money. Money is just one form of wealth. In fact, on Monday's show, I want you to come back and we're going to talk about the 7 different forms of wealth. right? Money is just one of them. Knowledge is another form of wealth, because when you know something, you can always apply what you know to gain other resources. And it doesn't have to be money. I can exchange my knowledge with you for goods and services that you have, not necessarily money. So we have to understand that these are resources and that we have all been blessed. If you think about the way God created this earth, right? Everything produces a seed of itself, right? That's what it's supposed to be. We know that man has started to genetically modify seeds and making them do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the way God intended is that every seed or everything produces seeds of itself. And most of the time, every seed produces more than what more than its original self. So I myself am a single man. I came together with a single woman, and we start producing like beings, beings like ourselves, and we produce it more than just the one and two of us. We produce 5. Right? So when you extrapolate that throughout all of the universe and everything that God has created, that everything creates more than it was, or has the ability to create more. So if that is the case, and we have plants that we eat, and those plants create more than themselves, then that's a testament to me that we should all be living in abundance, right? I can grow a single ear of corn. That single ear of corn produces about 300 kernels of corn that can later be planted and create 300 plants that would produce 3 or 4 ears of corn, and each ear of corn has 3 or 4 kernels of corn. So in just 2 seasons, we could literally have enough corn to feed the family, right? So we're talking about abundance, and the fact that it's by God's design that we all have an abundance of wealth and prosperity and access to abundance of resources. We just have to jump through a few more hoops because of the rules and regulations that have been set by man. Man has created the. Good morning, Roger. If you got any questions, this is Q&A Friday. Put your questions in the chat. And I'm just rambling on because I didn't get a lot of questions this week. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you put your questions in the actual comments, then I will roll your questions over to the following week. But you can also tweet me live at Cortez Springer if you have a question. So we're talking about whether or not you guys believe that we are supposed to live a life of abundance, because what you believe determines a lot the outcome that you're going to get from the energy that you put into the universe. If you believe that you are limited to a certain lifestyle, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of resources in your life, guess what? That's all the energy that you put out into the universe is going to produce. I believe that we all should be living an abundant life. I believe that we can take these gifts and these talents and these passions that we've all been given and parlay those into lives of abundant resources, especially when we start to collaborate with each other versus competing with each other. That to me is the name of the game for financial success, wealth, prosperity in any realm. So you guys, we're live Q&A with H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class on Talking Money in the Morning live. If you're just tuning in, if you got questions on anything business related, finance related, wealth strategies, really doesn't matter. Questions of any kind. Now is your time to get those questions answered. Questions on my income shifting program. Questions on using the tax code to build wealth. Questions on why I think entrepreneurship is the best. Melvin Babs, is there a particular fund that you recommend? Yes, Melvin. To be honest with you, now let me give you my disclaimer. I'm not a licensed financial planner or advisor. I'm not a CPA, tax guru, or anything of that nature. I'm just a student of wealthy people, and I know the type of moves that wealthy people make, so I make those moves myself. I'm mentored by some wealthy people, and they're teaching me the game of money, so I subscribe to a philosophy that says you learn, do, and teach simultaneously. So as I'm learning, I'm doing, and I do this show every morning to teach, because as I teach, it helps cement the information in me. So I recommend corporate bond funds, Melvin. And I recommend that because sometimes it takes a little while, and I haven't gotten there yet myself, where I start understanding how to pick individual stocks. But a corporate bond fund is a fund where you have a fund manager, and they have picked the stocks that are in this fund, right? So it's kind of like if I had a chance to win $10 million for shooting free throws. I'm a youth basketball coach. I love the game. I can shoot free throws at about an 85% clip. But if I had a chance to win $10 million and shooting that free throw, I would probably, if I could, hire Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Steve Kerr, guys who shoot it at about a 92, 93% clip, right? I would hire a professional to give me a better chance to do that. So when you buy something like a corporate bond fund, you have professionals who pick the group of stocks that the bond fund is going to be supporting, and now they can better manage that stock portfolio than the average person. And those bond funds, Melvin, can kick out 10, 12, sometimes 16% rate of return. Problem is, most people don't know where to go to get those bond funds. I did a show last week, Melvin, on where I walked through going through Vanguard and showing you how to get some of those funds. Problem that a lot of people have is even when they know where to go and how to get those funds, they don't have the $3,000 to get one of those funds started. They don't have the $10,000 to get one of those funds started, because when you're going to the wholesale investment houses like Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, places like that, you can't come to them with $100 to open an account. You have to have a few grand to get that thing started. That's why our income shifting program helps people minimize their taxes, eliminate their debt, so they can free up that $3,000 that they need to open the account. And once the account is open, then you can make regular contributions of $50, $100, $200 a month, or whatever. Great question, though, Melvin. Hopefully that helped. But there's also government bond funds. There's also municipal bond funds. But corporate bond funds, especially those high yield corporate bond funds, right? And what does high yield mean? That simply means your money is being lent to companies who have bad credit, right? We know what subprime means on a personal level. Well, guess what? Corporations there are subprime corporations too. They just use the terms a little bit different. Instead of subprime, they call it high yield. That means the company has slow payments, so they are allowed to charge that company a lot more interest when they lend them money, the same way they do in the subprime market. So if you have a high yield corporate bond fund, that's going to pay out a little bit more return. Of course, the risk is greater because those slow pay companies could go under and not pay back the loan at all. But the greater the risk, the greater the return. So a good question again, Melvin. If you got any other questions, we got a couple minutes left. We'll go a couple minutes over. I know it takes some of you guys a little while to get on. I know early morning is not the best thing, but it works with my schedule because I want to get out and share with the world every morning before I get my day started. So that's kind of why I do the show at 7 o'clock in the morning. Any more questions, guys? Type them in the chat. Melvin, do you have a business or a brand that you're promoting, bro? I'd like to shout out your brand. If you do, just type that in the chat as well. But great question. Again, those who have the means to invest don't always have the education to invest. And then those who have the education to invest don't always have the means to invest. That's why my entire focus is on the working class, so I can help bridge that gap, bring the education to the people with the means, bring the means, the people with the means to the education, because it is my goal is to help working class people eliminate $1 billion worth of debt, to help create 1 million new millionaires, right? And then to go and also create $1 billion worth of investment assets. And it's going to take some work to do that, guys. I'm partnering with a team of people who are doing this all around the country. And I'm always looking for like-minded people who would want to have their own business in the financial education space. And we can teach you how to bring these, bring these strategies to other working class people and grow this thing. No, not yet, but thanks to you anyway. Okay, so Melvin doesn't have a brand to promote. King Zaddy, can you go over the top 5 tax deductions once again? Yes. Number 1 is business use of your home. If you use a dedicated space in your home for your business, then the ratio of that space in proportion to the rest of the living space becomes tax deductible. I'll give you an example. If you have a 1,000 square foot home and you use a room that's a 10 by 10 room, so now that's 200, that's 100 square feet, right? That's 10% of the living space of the home. You can take 10% of your rent, 10% of the utilities, 10% of any updates or improvements to the home now become tax deductible. So number 1, business use of your home. Business use of your vehicle is number 2. You can earn 57.5 cents per mile driven for business. So for instance, I don't go to family functions anymore. I go to networking event where my family happens to gather and I talk business. So the miles that I drive to these functions become tax deductible, right? My son is in my business who lives in Kansas City and he's in school there. So when I need to go meet with him about business, then the miles I drive to Kansas City are tax deductible at 57.5 cents per mile. Now, while I'm there, I may just happen to give him some money to help take care of his school bill. But I'm going to teach, train, and mentor him about growing this business. So the miles that I drive, business use of your vehicle is the second top 5 home business tax deduction. Number 3, meals and entertainment. My wife and I used to have a date night once a week. We don't have a date night once a week. We have a budget meeting once a week where we have an agenda. We go and we discuss our business, our budget, our game plan. We're strategizing now for 4th quarter, what we want to do, goals we want to hit. And now that meal becomes tax deductible. If we decide to do a movie, the meals and entertainment now become tax deductible when you understand how to use the tax code. So that's number 3, meals and entertainment. Number 4, business travel, right? I stopped taking family vacations and we take family business retreats. We might do some team building stuff while we're there. Why? Because my children are employees in my business. So is it against the law for a company to treat its employees to entertainment? Is it against the law for a company to send his employees on business trips? No. So I do the same thing in my small business. And then number 5, paying wages to your children. Put your children to work in your business and you pay them a wage. Why? The wage you pay your children is tax deductible for you. It's tax free for the child up to $6,300. And because they are your children, unlike McDonald's, you send your child to work for McDonald's. McDonald's is a corporation. McDonald's has no relationship to your child. So McDonald's has to take out FICA, Social Security, employment tax, all of that kind of stuff out of your child's check. That's why your child has to file a tax return to get that money back if they make less than $6,300. As my child, I don't have to worry about employment tax, Social Security, FICA, any of that because they're my child. So I can just pay them a straight wage without employment taxes. As long as I don't pay them more than $6,300, they do not have to file a tax return, but I can claim those deductions, those wages as a tax deduction in my home-based business. So guys, powerful, powerful stuff. Good questions this week, guys. We are at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to have to jump out, but if you have any questions, if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, especially on Facebook Live, especially in YouTube, and I will answer your questions via text if you continue to ask questions. And then we have some other experts that also tune into the show, and some of those people can chime in with their opinion as well. So let's keep the conversation going even during the replay hours so that we can just continue to educate, uplift, and motivate. Today's show is brought to you by the St. Louis Small Business Expo. It's going to be at Qtopia, 1 to 4 p.m. tomorrow, August 27th. Come on out, hang out. I'll be giving free consultations. Other vendors will be there with free giveaways, prizes, and special offers. 11824 West Florissant Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63031. I'm sorry, 63033. Also, guys, if you want to join me in this crusade where we're bringing wealth building information like this to working class people, you don't have to do a show every morning, but you got friends and family members that you can say, hey, tune in to the Financial Health Mentor. He's teaching these wealth building principles. And if you want to partner with us, then you can make an income from getting them to partner with us in our own financial success or financial education membership franchise. Just simply text the word franchise and your name to 314-874-6887. Don't worry if you didn't get that number. I will put it in the chat. But text your name and the word franchise to 314-874-6887. And basically what you'll be paying for is you will get the information that I give on this show, plus a lot more in a personal relationship with me. And I will show you how to set up your own franchise so that you can start earning additional stream of income by teaching these strategies to your family, to your friends, and building a family empire from scratch based on these wealth building principles and strategies. How many of you guys agree? Type really quick in the chat if you agree that this is information that you and your family can use to build wealth. Right? Last thing before we get out of here, if you're watching this still live on Facebook, if you believe that you and your family can use this to build wealth, I want you to type yes, or give me a thumbs up that yes, we should be sharing this amongst our families. Because what we can do is I can show you how to free up anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per month as an individual. And that's powerful for an individual. But what if we got 20 of your closest relatives together and I helped all of you guys free up $1,000 a month? Now, as a family, that's $20,000 a month that you can use towards building your family empire. That's why I'm looking to partner with people in your own financial education franchise, because we can really build wealth. We don't have to wait on the government. We don't have to wait on banks to lend us money. We can literally build our wealth from scratch and start putting ourselves in position to have a family legacy and empire to pass down to our children. So guys, sorry for keeping you beyond our 30-minute normal session time, but I am H. Cortez, Financial Health Mentor to the working class. I do my best to bring practical, proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. Do me one huge favor as we close. I want you to get your money up, guys, because you absolutely can do it. Until Monday, we're out. Monday, we'll be talking about the 7 forms of wealth, guys. Wealth is not just money. There's other things that constitute wealth, and we're going to show you what those are so you can identify them in your life so that you can start getting an abundance of those resources as well, because that will help you build that family empire. So until next week, I'm out. Thank you guys for joining. Peace.